What's going on, everybody? FM coming back with another movie review. This time I'm going to take a look at Chopping Mall, which is another Roger Corman movie. I don't think I've reviewed any of his stuff. I've seen a lot of it, but I haven't done any video reviews on it. And this one was recommended to me by a friend of mine, and I've seen it before, but I decided to watch it again tonight. That way I could review it fresh instead of going off of memory. And I'm glad that I did that because I noticed a lot of stuff that I didn't notice before, and I was able to do a little bit more research on it. This movie was originally released under the title of Killbots in '86. It didn't do too well, and they were under the impression that was because people thought it was some kind of kiddie Transformer-esque movie, which I don't think is why it didn't do well. And if you decide to give this movie a try, I think you'll see why it didn't do well, and I don't think Transformers or believing it was something kiddie had anything to do with it. This movie, basically, if I had to describe it, is like reverse Short Circuit. They were both released in the same year. If for anybody that hasn't seen Short Circuit, it's about this little military robot that gets struck by lightning and suddenly he gains sentience and he is like the sweetest little character ever, Johnny Five. This movie is like I said, reverse Short Circuit. It's like lightning hits the computer and it makes like three evil Johnny Fives, only they have no personality whatsoever. And during the opening, the guy that's pitching these robots to the mall people, he goes over some of their features, but he leaves a lot of stuff out apparently, and we'll get into that in a minute. But one of the things I noticed in this movie that I thought was really weird, for anybody that was a teenager in the 80s, leave in the comment below, did they have girls in bikinis just walking around the mall advertising stuff? I wasn't old enough then, and I have no clue if that was a thing back then, but if it was, be sure to let me know. I just thought that was kind of strange. You wouldn't get away with that now, for damn sure. The movie, basically, it's about these kids throwing a party in the mall, which, 80's movie, kids throwing parties, yeah, it's pretty cliche at this point. But they're all throwing a big party inside of the furniture store, and what was really weird is that, what I thought was kind of messed up was everybody just kind of started hooking up in the furniture store within full view of each other. Like, they were on, like, opposite beds and couches and stuff, and they're just handling business within sight of each other. I've been to some wild parties, but I've not ever seen anything like that before. I've seen some pretty messed up stuff, but that was a little odd to me. I've thrown some messed up parties. Stories for another day. And that begs the question, you have a mall that can afford multi-million-dollar robots running around patrolling the inside, but there's not a security system with cameras where you can see what's going on, because none of the characters seem to be concerned that they would be caught on camera handling their business in the furniture store. I thought that was kind of odd. Where the hell are the cameras? You don't have any. I know there was surveillance cameras in the 80s, damn it. They were humongous. I've seen them. Where the hell were they at? You would rather buy a $1 million robot than buy a damn security camera, which probably didn't cost nearly as much. You have to turn your brain off to enjoy this movie, ladies and gentlemen. But you got janitors running around in there right before closing. And that was something I thought was funny. Like, they're in there giving this one guy hell. The robot, the other janitor that's going to be left over after the place gets locked up. And that's when the robots kind of start their killing spree after they've already killed their handlers, I guess. They show up, and the one they kill, if you've seen a lot of 80s movies, he'll look familiar to you. The actor's name is Dick Miller. He was Mr. Futterman in the Gremlins movies. That's one of the main things I remember him as. I know he did like a lot of 80s TV too, I think. But they kill poor Mr. Futterman, and then they go to the furniture store and then just start laying waste to the teenagers, which was probably about my favorite part. And that's when some of the features on these robots that they didn't discuss in the little briefing at the beginning, like military grade lasers, apparently. I know they had said something about lasers, but they didn't say anything about lasers that were capable of blowing someone's head off their shoulders. And the lasers have no consistent power. Like, sometimes they just burn somebody, sometimes they can burn through a door with them. Like, they just put like a little light burn on them. And then other times, I don't know if they're doing a charge shot or what, but they're just like Mega Man charge shot in somebody's head clean off their damn body. There was at one point where somebody got shot in the gut and they just fell over dead. And I'm like, that seemed like one of those little glancing blows some of the other characters got. I don't understand. But they also had plastic explosives. Like, they locked the kids locked themselves in the storeroom, and then they start using plastic explosives to blow the damn door off. I was like, they didn't go over any of this shit in the briefing at the beginning of the movie. It's just, I guess the robots' features are just situational. I don't know how that works. And then, like, I'm not going to go into this whole movie because if you want to watch it, I don't want to ruin it for you. Just, like I said, you're just going to have to turn your brain off if you want to enjoy it. If you can do that, it's decently entertaining. But if you can't do that, you might want to, if you're looking for something a little bit more serious, you might want to bypass this one altogether. Now, like, a couple of my gripes, and these are just, I mean, one of them's a common sense thing, the other one's just something I guess I was thinking about. When you've got only 2 folks left alive, why the hell are you splitting up? That makes no damn sense. You just split the hell up for no reason other than the girl's idea is y'all need. What if we split up? Well, what if we just die? Why don't we just go find the robots and just fucking die? Maybe that'll make it easier. But another one is when they're making Molotov cocktails, they're making them in these tin gas canisters, and that shit does not work. You have to use like a jar or a bottle or something like that. It makes literally no sense to use this. That's not going to work. It's just going to burn. It's not going to spread. I don't know. Somebody else might not have noticed that. That seems stupid to me. And the movie costed about $800,000 to make, which I guess was like a lot of money in the 80s. And it shows. I mean, it bleeds through on a lot of the effects and stuff. I mean, you could see it, and some of the actors really just didn't seem like they were wanting to be there. On top of that, you probably, on a side note, you probably wouldn't be able to tell from the quality of this masterpiece. But according to writer Steve Mitchell, this movie was written in the span of a day and then financed. I don't know who put this through for financing. I'm sure there was a lot of, since it was the 80s, a lot of alcohol and blow involved. Somebody thought that was just the best idea ever. But that's going to wrap this up. Even with all of its faults, I still enjoyed this. I was able to sit through this a little bit easier than I was Terminator Dark Fate or Rise of Skywalker. So there's that. But I'm going to go ahead and call this one. Remember to, if you like the content, remember to like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And I'll catch you next time. and you can tell the budget. I mean, you could tell the stuff from the budget. The actors really weren't that into what they were doing, and it was just a paycheck. And the robot effects were kind of eh. On a side note, I'm sure if you, from the great quality of this masterpiece, that you wouldn't be able to tell that according to one of the writers, Steve Miller, this movie was written in the span of 24 hours. In 24 hours, this movie was written, and then it was handed in, and somebody decided to finance this, which it was the 80's. I'm sure a lot of alcohol and blow was involved. But you know what? With all this movie's shortcomings, I can turn my brain off and enjoy this a hell of a lot more than I could Terminator Dark Fate or Star Wars, the newest Star Wars that just came out. It's the Rise of Skywalker. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks for stopping by.